Operation Cupid is back. One best of one on this group stage out of the way already. Games happening across the venue, but we are going to be following another one here on stream. We've got Anarchy's accounting firm up against Thinkers Academy. That'll be up next. An interesting one to say the least. I don't think we're on Anubis. That's lies and slander for right now. But we'll get into that and all those details in a moment. Some familiar faces here on the accounting firm of Anarchy.
Yeah, I personally have some, time having played with a lot of these people. Actually, I'd say 3 out of 5, if I'm not mistaken, being Anarchy, Lord of Pies, and Twinkinator, the GOAT. No, but seriously, these people, they're pretty good guys as far as I'm aware and concerned. And also seeing them inside of the server, it seems that they have a pretty good, I would say, affinity for one another. They seem to have been playing, even if just casually, at some stage in their careers for quite some time together. And I think that that's something that might be able to take them over the line against certain teams on LAN in particular, right? Like, it's a little bit of that chemistry you can't just buy,
Yeah.
And that's pretty impressive to me to see that, and they have stuck it out for this long, and it's cool to see them pulled together for this LAN just as well.
Yeah, with the exception of Twinkinator and Sasha.
Anarchy looks like an accountant.
He might.
I'm dead
be.
serious.
He may be. Who knows? I was gonna say, with the exception of those two, I mean, the rest of this team, dudes I've seen for a while.
God,
Thinkers Academy, they are doing some thinking, and a beautiful jersey for Xeon.
Yeah, Xeon, the centerpiece of it all. Sech Vivo. Do you think that's a plug? Do you think that Sech makes music?
I hope so.
I'm going to ask whoever we get for an interview if the Academy end up winning, if that is the case, because that's something I'd like to know for sure. Kraken looks like he almost got forced to do it. The pose, like he's like the 5th guy.
Kraken would be me in this situation. He's like,
yeah.
Dude, are we really going to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, fine, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome. They're thinking, and that much is for sure. We'll see what kind of thoughts that they do have to share about Dust 2 being our map. I want to touch a little bit on that fact, as we're probably going to get a good number of maps throughout the day, and not necessarily about this specific matchup head-to-head or anything like that, but we can break it down as a general, fundamental basis. And Dust 2 is a map that in some instances teams play for a puggy style, and in other instances team will play for actually a little bit more of a structured style, right? Like, because it's gotten to a conversation now where, depending on what level you play, it's do we play off spawns or do we play positionally, right? And I want to kind of get a feel for how teams at these local LANs are playing that.
Yeah, I feel like I once again have like set myself up for failure, because I've just watched some like nightmare Dust 2s in the last week. So I'm kind of excited to get a little bit of a refresher. Yeah, we're right in there. I guess whilst we have that knife round, Thinkers Academy, I mean, this is going to be an uphill battle for them, right? We're talking about a team that's currently in open, not doing all that hot.
9-10. Be specific.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, that is an important distinction. I forget nowadays. And up against we've already talked about how Anarchy, this squad in general, is like got a lot of experience, but this is a main team, right? That's a punch up if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, we need to get some on-site reporting from somebody, hopefully at the venue, because we obviously are not. That the trash talk that goes down, I'm desperate to hear what they're saying.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of my favorite parts of the Fragadelphia lands that we get to go to is that typically when I'm working those, I get to actively hear the trash talk as it transpires and relay it to the stream. And as it stands, we've got ourselves a full sprint into lower tunnels. Dual Berettas being accompanied by another set of pistols. Maybe a little bit too much. What is this, an anti-strat? They have 4 players outside tunnels. Thinkers Academy have their caps on, but it doesn't matter because they'll have them removed by AGN, who finds all of the last 3, and scream as you please. You've earned it.
Yeah, that's Lord of Pies, if I'm not mistaken. Let him know what's going down. Absolutely stunning. Putting Thinkers Academy down on the ground and not giving them time to think or shoot, for that matter. One move into the next, as Thinkers Academy had themselves a field day. At least they thought so. Bring with this a eco round. No force spy. I mean, it's kind of hard when you get... I mean, they got a couple of kills, but not a whole ton, and no bomb plant. So the expectation will be to eco, and that is exactly what they do. No Vivo on the HUD. We don't...
No Vivo. No Vivo on the HUD.
Advertising doesn't go that far. We can't.
They were lucky to get it through that far. Ooh, nice little scout shot there, though, from Sasha. Just a quick little low armor player, already having been somewhat softened. It's easy pickings and maybe even more on route. Could be overran if there were a number of Thinkers Academy players. I want to know what the Thinkers main team is looking like. Where are they at? Is there just a Thinkers team, do you think?
You know, that's a good point. I didn't even think about it. I was actually confused when he started that. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? No, okay. I'm with it. Oh my gosh. Benjamin.
Oh, Benjamin's button might just be pressed. Electrocutes Anarchy, gets in MP9. It's not really anything all too crazy.
But they got out long at the same time. Double swing, big fight for loaded pies, and
melted.
Yeah, that'll do it. Clean sweep there at the very end, but a little bit of damage inflicted by the Thinkers Academy.
Liquidator is a regular in my Twitch chat.
Really?
Yeah. I see them all around on different Twitch streams.
Dude, that's awesome.
They seem to be
I was going to say this in the
community content.
I was going to say the shirt he's wearing, like, it works so well with this thing.
What do you mean?
Take it.
Elaborate.
Take it exactly how you want.
I think I would need an elaboration.
No, I don't think so.
His shirt aligns with his name. Okay. Well,
Let's just say it's bold in a good way.
Sure. Kraken just barely missing the tops of the dome of the player on Cat, but on re-aggression, he will certainly see it, but for only a split seconds because he'll be dealt with. And from firing off at topside mid, you can see that they are comfortable in taking every single duel at every point in time. A 4K for Twinkinator there. Looks like the level that they're bringing to the table right now is a little bit disrespectful, but also in the same vein, it also just looks like they've got a lot of faith in the players that they are and what they're capable of.
Yeah, well, and when you got shooters like this Anarchy team does, I think that it's pretty reasonable to kind of test the waters early into, especially a group stage, when you don't necessarily know who you're up against, and maybe you do, maybe just, you know, a little bit of preparation. You look into what you're looking at, and you just basically say, hey, we're gonna turn the dial up to 11 right now, and if they can force us to be a little bit more respectful, then obviously we will. We have that in the tank, but off the rip, not going to do so if it's not necessary.
Yet to see B tested since Pistol. Yet to see any crazy aggressions in that area from the Thinkers, but they haven't had all the arsenal in order to do so. Makes sense that they would be budgeting for maybe a later date to try their hand at it. Nader on a somewhat off angle hits the first of those headies, but now it's just needing to hold down ground in between with no smoke to separate. Setch already low, and easy shots for Anarchy, even the pistol pulled. Nobody going to be shying away from getting atop the last of those kills. 4-0, the start looking great. A springboard to potentially even get, at the very least, a tie at the half, it feels like, before Thinkers have secured their one, yet to take a timeout.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit early on that like timeout call. This is, you know, a big gun round. They didn't get very far in the first one.
I think the first gun round's the most important.
Valid.
Because if they lose here...
Oh, okay. We're going to get a reset item.
Yeah, a little reset action going on, I can only imagine. What the...
I don't know what that says. Is that like on his monitor? That's crazy.
Those monitors are nice.
I know. I was thinking that.
It's actually so crazy.
It's been big upgrades over Game Arena since the last time I like got the watch. It was pretty cool. But also just like, dude, I can't imagine having that much like desk space at a LAN environment. Normally I'm like my mouse pad running up to my teammates.
Yeah, that's
like,
usually for me too.
And then I'm smashing my pinky finger on their keyboard.
One of my biggest problems at the LAN that I played at with Fisher was that on the far right of me there was like a raised metal piece at the edge of the desk that my mouse kept hitting. It was very frustrating, and I was just like, why is this here? Why does this exist on my same ethereal plane?
Yeah, no, for real. A frustration. No doubt. Getting things figured out, by the way, on the side of the LAN server. Or, well, more like the PC, but it is what it is. A little reset on that one. But yeah, I think ultimately a strong start for Anarchy, finding themselves in a good position. For me, I was kind of talking about like needing to just test the waters, see what you can get away with. I actually think that that's usually like limit testing, typically a good idea when you're like getting into the early stages of a LAN. Also, just if you can start to run over somebody, it's like great for the vibe of the team.
Yeah,
I mean, you get some early wins.
Especially if you have lifelines, like if you know that you have another game in you, even if you are to lose, like you can play and get a little bit crazy. You say it's limit testing, but at the same time, for me, it's kind of like a warm-up in some way, shape, or form. Not even necessarily testing limits, but trying to get yourself into good form, taking gunfights you wouldn't normally take. You don't really need to worry about the round differentials or anything like that as far as I'm aware. I mean,
well, potentially.
It shouldn't come into play because only 2 advance from each of the groups.
I mean, that's correct. Technically, I think could come into play. For seeding, especially.
For seeding. Yeah, I guess for seeding, because then your seed would obviously be better if you're the top of Group A with more rounds than the top of Groups B, C, and D,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, again, not really that big of a deal at the end of the day for me, but even still, like, trying to get your team vibes up and going a little bit crazy, pushing yourself to your own limits, not even necessarily seeing that of what your opponents are going to be able to give. That's a pretty good, interesting thing, I think, is, for me, really important for when I get on to LAN, is what can I do? Like, me.
Yeah. I think let's zoom out just a little bit since we have a moment to talk. Can we pull up the groups real fast, the different pools? Thank you very much. Yeah, a reality here in Pool A that both of these teams, I think, like probably fighting pretty heavily. Like this game means a lot in as much as
this is a lower bracket game, no?
Well, not. I don't think we're in
not
a bracket.
Brackets, but
yeah.
Whoever loses is eliminated.
Pretty much, yeah. Is kind of, or at least not making it into. I think everybody plays a minimum 3 games.
Oh, a minimum 3 games.
I think production can double check that for me.
Round robin format.
Round robin, indeed. So, yeah, not like elimination, but elimination from contention to playoffs. Especially, I mean, for this one specifically, with Anarchy's accounting firm and Thinkers Academy both losing already. That is
cool though.
Say again?
Guaranteeing that you play 3 games on LAN, because a lot of the LANs you just play 2 and that's it.
Yeah,
which stinks.
It does feel really bad if that goes down, because you just feel like you came out and like oh, okay,
it's stomped and then all right.
I mean, just you can't even hang out at like the venue because there's more games happening usually.
Yeah.
Which is a tragedy. But moving along from that Pool A conversation into the B group conversation, we already got to peek towards Ohio Meat Wagon. Team Skyline, though. This is a squad that I'm pretty excited to see a little bit more of. I was kind of highlighting that they're a team that is like always going to be interesting to watch. You and I got to watch them because they're the majority of the Ohio State University Buckeye Gaming Collective. The collegiate team. There's a couple of collegiate teams here, which is cool as like a collegiate guy myself.
It's popping up more and more often. I think that you'll see collegiate teams actually be able to get out to LANs. I just don't know whether or not their school is actually sending them, but I figure that if they are operating under their school's name, there's a chance.
I would gather definitely not for like the Team Skyline instance here.
I'm thinking Tiffin University Dragons. They're representing their school in that moment.
Yeah, I think it's usually a question of like what the money looks like, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say typically not there.
Depends on how far out there. I don't know where Tiffin University is located, so I'm
going to find out for you.
I mean, if it's just like a bus ride or something like that, or like the entry fee
fair.
Manageable than if it's a club that's actually supported by their school in the first place, as opposed to just a group of guys that got together, right? And you never really know. I mean, it looks like on the website for the school that it is a legitimate school for esports. They've gotten themselves like a roster you can go through for the couple of years, and it's in Ohio.
Yeah. So it makes sense. I mean, all the Ohio teams able to get some players over here.
I feel like the schools could have paid.
Could have.
There's a world.
Absolutely. Maybe pay the entry fee.
Like I said, it's a slow entry fee, and then a little bit of a bus ride,
Yeah, no doubt. Pool C and Pool D we're going to get to a little bit later. That's happening on the backside of our little intermission that we've got in the process. Though it's looking like things not quite ready to roll on our side. So just getting it settled. I think it was Eon who maybe had the issue. I can't recall. Regardless, we're going to take a little bit of a brief break, and then we'll jump right back in. Dust 2 should be returning shortly. Well, alrighty, folks. Apologies for the delays. We had to do a little PC swapperoo. That's just the way it goes sometimes. And so now, with Zeon back in the server, ready to go. I think we've gotten things reset. Just a reminder, if you forgot, which I wouldn't blame you, where we were at. Anarchy accounting firm up 4-0 in this one. Thinkers Academy, not quite in the spot they would like to be in, but this is a massive full buy that's coming in, a potential turning point, though we haven't seen, I think, a lot of evidence to suggest that that's where we're going just yet. But in the gun round, that's going to be the one to do it. Unfortunately, a pretty massive missed nade isn't going to be a great way to start it. That was the door smoke, but it isn't going to be going to mid door at all.
Nope, not quite. Now we have the clear down into the bottom ends, the darkest depths of dust. Zeon having returned to the server very quickly, swiftly, remembering what it was like to be dominated in the early stages of this on less than half HP thanks to that dunk of a nade. Twinkinator, no, not going to stick around for all that much longer. Zeon will. But will they be impressed upon from other positions is the only question. Looks like there's a double walk towards Tons.
Yeah, Zeon trying to pivot between two different angles. He's got lots of responsibilities with the rest of his team walking out long. He's going to turn around in time. Doesn't seem like it. AGN likely the first to make contact. No turn at all, and so Zeon is executed. Thinkers Academy, they have this long control, but they're just going to have to go on it. There's at least a smoke for the cross already in process. Make that move. Lord of Pies next up. Big damage, and the nade going to shut him down. Twinkinator, in the meantime, able to get up and over the top. Big spray on the A420. Where that came from as Anarchy gets involved. It is cool, calm, and collected out of Anarchy and his accounting firm.
They're looking to get us back on track. We're looking to end this one pretty quick.
Yeah. They've kind of been in that mindset, I feel like, from round one.
Yeah, slash out Thinkers Academy out the gate. They get them in really awkward positions in terms of the money regularly. It's just back and forth, push and pull of where Anarchy's accounting firm only have to worry about playing too close against pistols, where this round might have been one of those scenarios or situations. Anarchy has to turn away back soon. No one at all able to help them. So I'm curious to how much they actually do look to go for. An immediate shot out and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, it's a big upgrade, too. When Thinkers Academy have some pistols and armor, it's going to highlight an opportunity. AGN, this would be an ambitious move if you were to continue to step forward. Just going to be jiggling, holding an incendiary and a nade. It's got maybe an audio cue because I don't think he got any vision. Going to drop that, fall back, still sitting on an incendiary for later on should it be necessary. 1 minute. About to pass it. And Sasha gets a free shot. The trouble with these types of rounds here for Thinkers Academy, they're lacking in utility, but that is a massive frag. Twinkinator goes down. Now they're going to press the go button on Cat.
Opper and Rifler kind of stepping on each other's toes. That long player is going to have the perfect backstab opportunity. It's just not the greatest weapon to actually find a multi-frag. Should be only able to find one at most. Zeon gets none. The site may be taken, but it doesn't look like they'll have many more opportunities up ahead of them. Exposed from a number of angles as the last of those rotators was just about to show from ramp. All three would have had sight lines with no referral back towards Cat. 6-0. 2 fatalities, 3 guns still stand, and finances are not going to be a question until this game is done, it feels as if, for AAF.
Yeah, I don't think so whatsoever. When you're winning so dominantly, you can just build so consistently. Thinkers Academy, they need to bring something a little bit different to this. I wouldn't mind anything a little quicker, especially if it was a long take, but I think they could also reasonably slow down a little bit. And it is going to be exactly that, what I said. A long take. Nobody to meet them on the long corner.
There's a really cool play that Zway did the other night in the Paravision game I want to talk about in a second here. Well, it looked like that would have been a little bit more, honestly, but the T's were more than prepared for it. I think there was even a turn away from what would have been a flash for the Twinkinator to fight. 10-4, starting now to get a little bit more pushback than previously. I'll talk about that play I was mentioning in the next round.
Yeah, because this is exactly what we were kind of highlighting, seeing how far you can go before there's any pushback. Tinker's Academy kind of finding that. I also love that they see no and feel no resistance at long, so they just pump the brakes a little bit, spread back out, look for that type of aggressive mid play. I think that's an intelligent way to approach that. Still got Sasha down and lower, and a big reflag at least, but the swing is ready to go. So now they've got to push the pressure up on the long side.
Stay alive a little bit right now. That flash could be supplementary as Lord of Pie still sticks in it. And oh no, I think Xeon crashed again. Yeah, I think Xeon crashed again. It looked like they were just walking, staring at the wall. Yeah, a little bit of frustration there. Yeah. I guess it lets me talk about that round.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, so last night, I think it was last night, or yesterday morning rather, more accurately, was a Paravision match on Dust 2 where Zwei was playing long, alone, nobody on the A site, and took long control solo with 2 flashbangs he threw for himself. Okay. One was an underhanded flashbang that he threw over the front side corner that would land at the same timing as somebody else throwing it for him, but instead of peeking instantly, he tapped W key through another flash on the same angle, and it blinded them again. And he was able to fight with that as it were to pop. It was very interesting. He took it single-handedly, long control, and all he needed was a smoke from somebody from CT spawn, and then they just left.
Was there any T's on the other side?
Yeah, he killed 2.
Wow.
And they were blind.
Impressive, yeah.
And then James could just say to himself, if it didn't work, that he's just going to stuff Cat with all his nades, post up long, call for the mid-rotate, play 2-2.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
That's so refreshing to see, like, little details like that.
Something new.
Yeah. Because I actually...
laughing at him slamming his desk right now? Is that what's happening?
Maybe.
He's pointing at him, and then he did a fake bang, bang, bang. Might have been just messing around with the other team, too. All in good fun.
You're not laughing, you're crying, especially when you're... listen, that round definitely was not set in stone by any means, but certainly was Anarchy in the lead. But it could have been a big difference maker. Xeon not able to have impact because of a technical problem. Always is a frustration point. Looking to get things sorted out once again. But yeah, I actually think that Dust 2 has had a lot of innovation recently. Like,
how recent?
Maybe not recent, but like more constant.
Within the last since CS2?
Since it's came back in, yeah.
So since CS2 dropped?
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. Well, Skybox being open entirely and wide will do that.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about the those really creative smokes that you can get from like T-spawn into B door or like window. I think those are a lot of fun. I saw a round the other day where the idea was so cool and the execution was so bad it actually made me sad. But it was a fake B smoke into a double fake cat smoke from outside of B tons. So the 2 waterfall smokes.
And they just went back B?
And yeah, after like 30 seconds, they had one guy up catwalk dropping into CT, and then they run it back B.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. And the guy on cat is like
think about.
Is throwing mid to B utility as well, in order to, and then has 2 flashes to try and fake the A.
What was the bad part?
The execution.
Like they just went too soon for one of those.
Yeah, they like
phases?
ended up they like waited too long, and then they walked through a smoke, and then they didn't have, and then the utility was fading. Yeah, it just was bad timing. But the idea was cool. I was down for that.
Guilty Gear a mobile gacha game?
No.
No?
That is a fighting game. Yeah.
What am I thinking of? I could have sworn there's something similar to that, like in name at least.
I'm going to type in Google Guilty.
Or just write Gear.
Mobile.
I think Gear is
okay,
probably the more.
I got you. Gear mobile game.
Gotcha game. I think it's like anime women in like steampunk attire is what I'm thinking of.
Okay. Well, Gear Defenders was the first one. That's definitely not it.
Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I have a good idea and I need to patent that. But we're back, 7-0. No need to think about anime women in steampunk attire any longer.
Yeah, I really
unless you'd like to.
I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Yeah, probably. I've seen your history, pal. I live in the same house as you.
I'm gonna put that out. Gotta hit the smoke this time.
Fetch Vivo needs to hit this smoke.
Yeah. And
I think he's missed it. It's a pretty standard door smoke if it was intended, because I think you can see over top of it relatively easily still.
Yeah, I mean, that one's meant to be the hinge smoke, no? Or the one on top of the door, rather. Little traffic jam on Cat. Mortify is going to be leaving some resistance, dropping Incendiary just to buy a little bit of time. Ooh, Sasha swinging in. Not any utility. That high-low setup quite effective to give Thinkers Academy a man advantage. This is prime time now. If you got the man advantage, you have to convert it. Long push happening in the meantime. Twinkinator, watch him.
It's like Twinkinator is going to get the perfect timing. One of them. Oh no, having turned back. No, not the player on Cat nor the player on Xbox. He's got to get out of there. He's got to get out of there soon. Battling is really not an option, honestly, because he's only got seconds before. Actually, I was going to say B is going to be taken under seizure, as it looked like they were geared for that in the first place. But Mr. Guilty Gear himself has just stopped just a little longer with Bomb.
How has this possibly gone so poorly here for Thinkers Academy? Xeon is so isolated. They think this is going to A, and I mean, fair enough. It kind of feels like it. Kraken nearly getting caught. Mortifies finally locking it down onto Xeon at long, and HEN just has to stay alive for the time being. The bomb plant, not a big deal. As long as they can maintain this, and they do have the man advantage now. Flashes flying in. Kraken caught throwing some of his own, and Mortifies takes one down. Kraken traded, and Mortifies for a trio of frags. And the man advantage dismantled. Thinkers Academy not able to convert once they had that, and just some struggles in figuring out when and where they wanted to go ultimately.
Yeah. Certainly seemed like they had conceptually an idea of how they wanted to dictate the rotates for Anarchy's accounting firm, but getting out through B when Long was only just momentarily pressured and pincered on. Kraken getting a door smoke in the middle of the open being thrown. That scared me, and also delayed them when he had to dip, dive, and dodge back. Pause now as Xeon once again has left us.
Yeah.
0-9, this has got to be a little bit frustrating, especially when you're facing a game crash, not a PC crash, and you're just saying to yourself, man, when will I get to play?
Yeah, especially after, I mean, we've already done a PC swap over there, so it's like kind of one of those things that is kind of tough to figure out without continuing to play rounds. And, you know, the longer that goes on, obviously the more annoying that it's going to end up being for Thinkers Academy. Becomes I would say, more of a tag team too, where like the rest of your team not personally dealing with issues, but your frustration compounds onto them. Team frustration.
Seems like we may be taking a little bit of an extended one, so there is some more to rectify. Clearly, we're trying to get Xeon back in the server and ready and raring to go, so until that is the case, we're going to be throwing it to a little bit of a pause. We'll be back in a bit.
All right, so apologies one more time for that one. Still trying to make sure that Xeon is all good and settled. Had a PC crash before, we swapped that one out, and then a game crash. So hopefully this time, fingers crossed.
More crashing.
Third time's the charm. Sasha gets a shot off, goes back for another one, still survives. Forward position for Anarchy in lower, and Thinkers Academy once again in a tough spot where they are having no map control, losing all of it at the very beginning. Just this long area.
Disaster picked out of the crowd. Last of those players over. At long now just sitting against the blue bin. Looks like Setch is hoping that they'll go walking deeper and playing Discovery. But there's not really any means or reason to. It's not at this point where you're 8-0 where you need to do something that drastic. And I do get now why Anarchy set the pace so soon. They were just running it back. This is actually Xeon to enter the kill feed for the first time.
Yeah. One world. Fortunately, wait, hold on.
What?
What happened to the poor guy? Fall damage, yeah. That sucks. Into the kill feed right out of it immediately, and not in the way that he wanted. Finalizing another round victory, 9-0 currently for AAF. Can't get it out of my head. AAF is an acronym. Is that something? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
It feels familiar. Like maybe a like political party or something? I don't know.
It's a heck of a no. Double nades into underpass, just keeping them from peeking in towards mid. Collectively, it's just going to be the player with the scout at top side. Benjamin not seeing much of anything. But there is a major focus into not letting them out of lower tunnels in the long term just as well. And Xeon is a little bit stuck up in it. They got their first kill last round, so they're avoiding the Donut Club. And that smoke will actually inevitably save them.
Oh, a little bit of a spot onto that one. Benjamin sees what's going down, but AGN moving. Grooven able to get back into a great position. Still yet to go down, by the way, AGN. Xeon all alone. Tack on a second kill now that his PC is working with him. It's going to have to be more than a perfect relationship in order for this 1v4 ace clutch to go down.
Just playing, hoping that somebody will walk into them as they bait them forward with the Tech 9 to tap away. Ahead of the first of them, there was room for another. HP very quickly draining, though, as rapidly bullets will enter. Double digits are secured. And Thinkers Academy may need to go back and study up because they're being taken to class and schooled by Anarchy and Co.
Well, listen, it's just the academy. It makes sense. You've already got an entire
Accountants versus students.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's a real fair matchup.
Yeah. One is salaried.
Ooh, a big opener for Xeon. Unfortunately, following that up is aggression everywhere for Anarchy. And so now it's Xeon and Setch left in the lurch. 2-on-4.
Anarchy's about to be in T-spawn.
Yikes. There's really nowhere to go. I mean, that's the first 20 seconds of the round, and it's 2-on-4. It's really difficult when Anarchy's accounting firm are playing so aggressively. And it's, of course, a big surprise to find that your spawn has been taken at a minute 20. Not going to see that very often. It is now 11-0, and Thinkers Academy just struggling to get off that goose egg.
Like I said, they're just trying to keep us on track. Keep this tournament on pace. That's respectable. Taking one for the team. Lower has not been their best friend. It won't prove to be even yet. There's more on way. No way off of this, though, and that molly makes it all the more difficult to try and dip. There is a kill, actually, from Benjamin, despite having to kill his teammate in order to collect upon it, but that should still, in all theory, be the round. But the bomb is in suicide. Xeon grabs it, and thankfully paths towards long.
Yeah, that could have been brutal, and it might still be. AGN, he's heard it. He's actually heard it. That's why he's going to step further forward. So Anarchy taking his time about this.
You can get much vision. I'm not sure, but this will go uncleared. AGN doesn't think that they're smart enough to sit with something like that. And this, with Anarchy, is the last left alive. At least ends the half with their first round win. Gotta be happy that you're giving them a new fight. Yeah, come on. 0 rounds, something if my computer doesn't crash? I don't know.
Something like that. I mean, this one on the board, big stand, and a lot of trash talk. tacked on at the end. Anarchy's accounting firm. Not quite the perfect half, but close. Very close indeed.
Seen worse.
Not much.
But I have. Oh, they're trying to have the same aggression that their opponents had in that pistol round that worked out so well. And right now, it has actually done exactly what they would have hoped for it to, and let them know very quickly as to where the bomb will be planted. Herd now stuck out, two directly implanted inside the site, and Zaster has them locked into tons.
Oh, Zaster.
Whoa.
Gonna go down, crossfire on the site. AGN cleans up one, swing as well, and they pull out the knife to shank him to finish off that pistol for 12 on the docket.
The only Zaster that I'm seeing here, Zach, is Disaster.
Yeah.
It's tough scenes. Tough scenes. After getting there one, after giving it a little bit of a louder moment. Once again, silence falls upon the team speak. Double scout setup, make it 3, make it 4. And they've already killed out one of the members. They have to go fully forcing one SMG. That's the last thing they're really going to be able to say has any chance in this round. The Deagles, I mean, let's be real, need to be sublime, and we've not yet seen them with any pistols look to the level that they would need to hit.
Well, hold on. Nice shot from Benjamin. There was already damage done. You spoke too soon, my friend, because AGN is last man standing. No significant weapons able to be collected. So this is on. A clutch possible. Running out of ammunition. Just 2 left in the magazine. Plenty of time now to work his way through both Kraken and Setch.
For literally a half second, I forgot they were playing up against scouts. So, yeah, I guess the Desert Eagles will have a little bit easier of a time in medium to close range distances to just spam on in. They definitely do all that. As AGN gets once more back in towards doors. Kraken tight angle. One of those scouts recovered for either of these two players, and the last of his utility is going to use in his best efforts to get that bomb. Smoke's not perfect. They think that he might have potentially gone back towards tons, but that's only a momentary distraction. Will now have to be shots into the smoke to finish him off. They do win out, and 2 players finding all 5 of those kills put together. Are we going to get any more of that?
I mean, I feel like we might be primed for it. Obviously, got to worry about this force buy that's almost certainly going to be coming down at them from Anarchy's accounting firm.
They can't be too mad about losing that round. It was by their own design that it was even a potential for scouts.
Just having a good time. Thinkers Academy know that there's not any sort of time to waste. They gotta keep moving fast. Astra not gonna be checked. Oh, but he gets blinded. And so the turn from Twinkinator is good enough. Kraken steals one on the back foot. Sion scout in position, but not gonna deny the plants. 4 on 4.
Playing underneath the window with 2 of these high fire, high potential, high impact kill pistols. Scout softening them, making their jobs a little easier once they are to hit back into the site. And there goes their nades. Blinded is the first of them, but Lord of Pies is going to line up the quad, and then easy enough is the tap from the tech, and that will be the close to the map. It turns immediately a little bit sour, but then it's sweet. This victory is secured, and I will say, 13-2 is got to be a good feeler. Even after intentionally trolling one of those rounds they lost, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, at that scoreline, it's a matter of, like, who cares as long as you're having a little bit of fun. And I think that, you know, the pain point in general for this matchup is that what could have been for Thinkers Academy if it's not so many tech issues for Xeon, right? You know, we got a little bit of a glimpse of what he maybe could have brought to the table when we got to see him after the crash, and you know, he started to be able to get back into the mix. That's the thing that I think we were deprived of. Otherwise, though, you know, Anarchy definitely were the better team. They looked like they had the big firepower advantage anyway. But I think could have been closer. ultimately, though, Anarchy going to be happy with the way that one went.
Yeah, I think that one is unsurprising. I think that was how it was supposed to go, even without crashes. That's a game that you're going to be looking back on and saying that they got that exact pre-show I was kind of talking about shown in stride, like seeing not necessarily what our opponents are capable of or like what the temperature of these teams are, but like what are we capable of? What are we able to do? How are we coming into this one mechanically? Are we ready to shoot hard? And can we continue to grow into the tournament, as it were? And it seemed like everybody was having their moment in some way, shape, or form, whether it be against ecos or against guns. There was always at least a multi-frag to be had. There was some, even I would say, very controlled and paced rounds up against guns where they take themselves team fights in certain directions, particularly in towards mid, and it just looked so smooth.
Yeah, and listen, it's kind of hard to have any like significant takeaways, but the fact that Anarchy, by like 8 rounds up, they were still taking things pretty seriously, even if really aggressive, and being careful.
Yeah.
And then things got a little bit silly afterward, as you would expect them to be. So for me, I'm like looking at that and seeing this Anarchy team as like a significant threat, even as they were knocked down early, 0-1 initially in this group. Now moving to 1-1. Speaking of the groups, if we can pop up that graphic real fast as well, I think that sets Thinkers Academy into an unenviable position of being out of contention for the playoffs. Still got at least one more matchup to play, absolutely. But yeah, it is Anarchy's accounting firm able to jump back into contention.
Yeah, I'm just looking this one out right now. Is it? I don't think that they're out of. Yeah, they are out of playoff contention.
Mathematically.
Yeah. All right, unlucky. Well, let's get the conversation struck with one of those who are very much so still in contention for playoffs. We've got Sasha joining us from Anarchy's accounting firm. Welcome in. How you feeling?
Feeling good. It was a good win. Yeah, my team just killed everyone, so.
It's pretty nice when that happens, to be fair. You can just, sit back, have a good time. I have the most important question first, which is how many people are actually accountants on this team?
1, and that's Anarchy. So.
I knew it.
Yeah, he's also the IGL, so it checks out.
Yeah, the numbers guy is crunching them, as it felt like there wasn't really a whole lot of finance game. You guys need to play that game. So his job very easy in that regard just as well. And you're the opera, if I'm not mistaken, the sniper of the team playing out. So you also don't really need to throw your body on the line all too often to get opening picks. It seemed like everybody was a sniper on the second round. You guys lost 4 of those. But talk to me a little bit about how you guys are coming into this one as far as, I mean, we're going to say this probably a million times until we've gotten out of the groups. But like expectations are concerned, because you're going to come into this one, obviously, one of the teams that has a little bit more, I would say, cohesion than some, right? I mean, some of these players, even for a very long time, having played both casually and competitively with one another. So how are you guys feeling coming into this?
We're feeling good. We definitely know, like, if we all show up and, like, can play to the level that we can definitely just win most of the games, or at least make them competitive, so.
Do you have any familiarity with some of the other teams that are here or players that are here in groups? Because you guys are playing in main, and I'm pretty sure that a predominant majority of the people here are either main players or, 9-10 players who were previously playing main.
Yeah, I'm familiar with some of the names. I haven't been to many LANs. This is my first LAN I'm actually here playing at. Cool. So, so it's definitely a fun time. But I know most of the names just from, like, Face It or playing against them in league matches, but I don't know, like, them personally or anything. But
right.
I mean, prime opportunity to change that.
Do some networking, shake some hands.
Yeah, 100%.
Say hello, get familiarized. But I guess to follow up, obviously, like that game, not a lot of like to talk about in specific, but we were talking about expectations and whatnot. Even if you're not all that familiar with everybody individually, where do you guys see yourself like able to make it? I mean, playoffs definitely a target, but anything further than that? What do you guys see as the final goal here for this team in particular?
For this LAN or the team in general? For this LAN, I mean, our goal right now is to just make playoffs, and I think once we make playoffs, we'll just think about it one match at a time, I think is the best way to look at it, so.
My last question is, it's rare you'll get, I think, an opportunity to talk to somebody who has decent competitive experience, who also hasn't really been to too many LANs, let alone this being your first. So can you describe the way that you feel on LAN, like both maybe in and out of the server when it comes to, obviously you have your team around you as well, and inside of the server is obviously a very different feeling from online. Can you describe as best as you can in words how you feel?
It's definitely like a little nerve-wracking, like a little nervous, but I know if I just like play the same that I usually do, I'll be okay.
The same? You intend on playing the same as you usually do?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think too much changes when you're on LAN other than just the pressure. So I think it should be okay.
So has it felt different for you jumping into the server, like on the op or anything in particular at this point?
Not really. I mean, I can notice like the server definitely like feels better than obviously like just playing online like Face It or something. So it definitely feels better. Like shots are hitting. So.
Gotcha. Well, Sasha, we really appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure that we'll be seeing more of you guys. Have faith that we will be seeing y'all into playoffs. Best of luck with the continuation of the Swiss. I think we're probably going to
see you next game, to be honest.
Getting to follow you. So,
Yep.
yeah, good luck with that one. Thank you so much.
Yep. See you guys.
And that was the second of very many interviews that we're going to be having. You were saying before in the pre-show to the entire tournament, in our exposition, that you were thinking that's one of the coolest things that come from these events is being able to sit some players down and really pick their brains. So we got a little bit of that.
Yeah, I get to connect and like actually just get some like thought process and mindset to see. I mean, just like what we were talking about right there, what the expectations are, and for a guy especially like Sasha who getting the first chance to be
kind of crazy.
LAN. Yeah, honestly, incredible. There's always one player I feel like any LAN that I'm like either attending or covering. It's like first time trying to not be too nervous, but jumping in with 2 feet, and that's exactly what Sasha was doing.
And we're going to get probably a couple more players of a little higher levels of experience soon enough, as we go throughout our day that we'll get to talk to who have been to a couple of LANs we've seen on LANs as well. You and I both firsthand. So with that, I think in due time we'll get to that point, but we've got more games to get through before we have that, as we're going to be changing things up just a little bit, as we mentioned, potentially following the victor of this last game into what will be their next shot at playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the schedule graphic updated, but if we do, can we pull that up? Because we weren't initially into Anarchy's accounting firm, but it is going to be weaponized incompetence up against them on that one. And I think a very exciting matchup.
Nice.
Playoff implications, like all the bells and whistles that you would hope to find with regard to that one. I know you were a big fan of some of the individuals on that team, and getting to see what they could bring.
Yeah, I was a little bit upset when I didn't get to cast them potentially today, weaponized incompetence. I was excited to see what they were going to bring to LAN, because I actually met a couple of these guys on their first LANs, if I'm not mistaken. So even actually familiar with ASAP, who was he was an academy player on the team that I was coaching or managing at that point. I forget, but he was on Tsunami for a while, and that's where I'm most familiar with that player. A couple of guys that they're pretty good friends for. And Icarus, I remember going out with him for a couple of drinks on LAN back at Philadelphia in Philly a couple years back, and 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half or so. But yeah, I'm just very excited to see what they're capable of when you put them all together. It seemed like a good group of guys.
Yeah, finally, as well, a test for this Anarchy's accounting firm. That match we just got to see, not quite that. We're going to set that thing up and hopefully get moving as quick as possible. So stick around. We're going to hit a break, a brief one, as we prepare for weaponized incompetence up against Anarchy's accounting firm.